Join our knowledgeable hosts as they dive into the captivating universe of comic books, movies, TV shows, and pop culture. Get ready for vibrant discussions and a shared enthusiasm for all things superhero and beyond. A comic podcast straight from the panels. This is Beyond the Capes.
All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Cape. For a first time this Thursday, we're going to do a little throwback Thursday episode. And we decided to pick one. I guess you could say it's one of our favorite movies because as a kid, that was like kind of the realest we got to a video game adaptation. I mean, realistically, for me, especially for you as well. And that is Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
Yes, the original Super Mario Brothers, the movie, the live action version.
Well, I don't know if you need to say the original because there is only one, and I think based on that movie, there will always ever be only one.
It was. I mean, hey, you know what? The anime was pretty good. I mean,
anime was good.
I watched it a bunch of times because my son loves it. So, you know, I've seen it and I've grown to admire that movie too. But that's his Mario Brothers.
This holds
our Mario
place.
Brothers, yeah. You know. So this is a really special movie for me.
And this came out. I mean, what do we say? Do we consider this late 80s or early 90s?
Oh, early 90s, sir. Like early 90s, I want to say.
I must say it has to be pretty, because I definitely remember being like 5 watching it.
1993 it came out.
Okay, yeah, that adds up in my head.
1993, and I remember not seeing it in theaters, but seeing it on VHS. That was my exposure. Yeah,
I definitely watched it on live TV. Like it was one of the movies that was on like one of the channels, either TBS or something.
Yeah. And it was pretty cool. I mean, it was kind of sci-fi, you know, heavily driven, you know. Did it vary from the video game? I would say. I mean, there are some big parts that vary from the video game, but then there were parts where it was heavily based on the video game as well.
Wow.
So
I don't know if we watched the same movie. I don't know if any part of that movie, besides Mario and Luigi, which did they even call each other Mario and Luigi?
They did, yeah. Mario, right. Luigi.
I know he definitely said Luigi, but I don't ever recalling. Well, we were just talking about the cast. John Leguizamo. If you want to see a very young, like breaking into Hollywood, John Leguizamo, that's the movie to see because he is baby faced, through and through.
Yes, he is. Yeah, that's him. Yep. I mean, John. I mean, it's like upcoming, you know, career of John Leguizamo. I mean, he got started stand up and then did The Pest. I think after that, and then Mario's. I'm not sure. It could be vice versa, but I mean, I just remember like him being a big name in the 90s, you know. And then Bob Hoskins was he's a drama actor, you know, through and through. You know, he was in Hook. You know, later on he was in like Unchained with Jet Li. You know, he famously he was the detective in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. You know, so great actor too. You know, and just and this movie was great. I mean, like it had Dennis Hopper as Goomba.
No, King Koopa. Was
King
it King
Koopa?
Koopa?
I think it was King Koopa. King Koopa was the version that's the Bowser, basically.
I think
he was Bowser, but for the live action version. And it was kind of cool because, like, you know, like the movie starts out, you know, of them, you know, like plumbers, you know, struggling plumbers, stuff like that, and it's kind of like they're not like exactly related. Mario and Luigi. That's why Luigi doesn't look Italian. He looks more Hispanic because like
he's Italian.
He in the movie he says, you know, like, oh, you know, like, you know, I look at Mario as my mother. I mean, my brother. You know, like he took me in when I was a kid, you know, and raised me ever since, you know. So you know, technically it's his stepfather, but they considered each other to be brothers, you know, because he, you know, like took him in as such. He was young himself, you know. So, and and then Mario had a girlfriend, not Princess Peach. Princess Peach in the which was she called Princess Peach? I don't think she was called.
No, I
Oh,
have it up. It's Daniela.
Daniela. See, Ryan, I'm telling you, like, I mean, it's a great movie for us, but if we're gonna try to pull it from the source material, it pulls vaguely a little bit. Like Mario and Luigi, like they're the main ones, but they're not even really brothers. And you have the fungus, and you have Koopas, you have yeah, the boots that made them jump high. I mean,
Well,
that's the reason why they jump high, because they have these like superpower boots, you know.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
before we get into it any further, I guess to give everyone like context, it's essentially there's two worlds. There's a portal. I mean, that's how they get into this world. They get sucked.
It's like
I
a
can't remember if it
parallel
was
world.
into a drain that they get. I can't remember how exactly they get sucked in.
It was
Um,
from like they're working like on a dig site, right? And like they find the crater of a meteor, right? And
yeah.
that crater of the meteor is connected to the world of, where the dinosaurs, were
Well,
sucked
and that's
into. And
yeah. So that's the
yeah.
thing. When the meteor came and hit,
Hmm.
like obviously for our world, it killed the dinosaurs. There, like the dinosaurs thrived off of it and became, I guess, humanoid to a degree, kind of
Right.
sentient.
Yeah, they evolved into like us in a way that they look like us, but deep down, like their genetics are dinosaur. So
Well, I mean, I guess look like us we can use loosely. Now I will never understand why they used Koopa, and it says it even in like the clip that I kind of just saw. They called him President Koopa. Like Bowser was an option. I guess it would have been hard back then with special effects to get that done, which sounds right to me.
well,
Which
I
is
mean,
probably why.
yeah, I mean they would have to like talk about like why is this guy a turtle? Why is he so big? I mean, like for them, they're trying to it basically they're trying to market off of the success of Mario, but trying to make it, like at that time make sense for a film, you know. And I guess, yeah, I mean, like they wanted live action, so they had to change a bunch of stuff, like make, like all the characters into dinosaurs, make New York into a post-apocalyptic, type of New York, stuff like that. They just, like I said, I mean, like some of it was heavy Nintendo, like the guns, they all look like they're like you would play like Duck Hunt, you know, like
Yeah.
the, stuff like that, so they use all those like Nintendo technology, surprisingly, for the film.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can say that to a degree.
Yeah.
The craziest thing is about this meteor is the fact that they like a human hatches from like this meteor egg in the beginning, and somehow Daisy, who is the true princess, not like that's who the real princess is technically of the movie, is Daisy is somehow descended from dinosaurs, like her and her
Yeah,
family.
yeah. I mean, like Daisy is from that world, and like the mother like find out about this portal that opened up into our world, and so she came through our world and dropped her off at an orphanage. And then King Koopa came, to kill the mother and kind of kill the bloodline, right? But instead, collapsed the portal so that like he couldn't come through, and she died in the collapse, or something like that. She died, and then the only thing that the daughter had was the necklace, which was the key, right, of to bridging the two worlds, together, so.
I, yeah, I mean, it's a fun watch because like it's crazy because you look at this movie and like the game and you're just like, how did we get here? I think the craziest thing about me or about the movie that really got to me was the whole Goomba thing, where like these
Mhm.
giant kind of people that they would turn into like a small-headed humanoid dinosaur like henchmen who had extremely large bodies. but like super tiny head.
They de-evolved them. Like there were
Yeah.
people like with the dinosaur people, whatever, and then they de-evolved them, and then like made them brain smaller, and made them look head smaller, all this crazy stuff. So
But that was the weirdest thing to me. Because like you had them, but like somehow Daisy's father, his de-evolution was to become a giant chair of mushrooms, a fungus.
yeah.
Like the whole thing was all mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really understand.
I don't. I mean, like maybe like he de-evolved them so much that he like just like became like mush, like maybe like the basic form of life or something. And I guess that's like mushrooms. But then again, at the end, after like they kill off the guy, then the king transforms back into himself, and I'm like, how did that happen? Like, why did he randomly just come back? Like, it's like the daughter was there to evolve him back. Like, there was just like so random. So.
Well, and I guess technically too, if you want to consider, they had most of the characters, because again, Daisy is a princess within the game. You had Mario, Luigi. You did have Yoshi, who was literally like a pet baby, like velociraptor looking creature.
Right.
Technically, you did have Toad as a character. It was like the one of the Goombas that got devolved, who was Daisy's friend, but he had like a harmonica, like always to like his mouth.
Right.
And one of the best things that ever happened was when Luigi was, I think they were trying to either get to Koopa or somehow like escape. And he's just like, trust the fungus. And he just like swings across.
Yeah.
And then somehow like magically walking around all these things is they had the little bob-omb that's just like they wind up in this spring. And I think that's how they ended up blowing up one of the contraptions for the world merging device.
Yeah, right. And how they killed King Koopa or whatever. I keep forgetting. I keep mispronouncing this. Dennis Hopper. I just call him his name. Yeah, and that's how they killed Dennis Hopper. They'd first Dennis Hopper transformed into like a full fledged T-Rex. At the end of the film, and then they threw the bomb, and then he blew up. And yeah, dude. I mean, like the fungus. The reason why Luke says trust the fungus is because the dad was the fungus, and he was like he grew throughout the whole city, so he was. The king, the original king was everywhere, so.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the crazy part about this whole movie is, as fun as it is, and like as weird as it is, and we talk about it, apparently like the being on set was like the weirdest thing for everyone involved, because I think it was Hoskins that got like really injured or something. They were like having them do like their own stunts or something, and like people were getting hurt. I think they kept on doing like script changes, and they had so much issues with it.
Yeah, I mean, like the director. Hold on, let me look. I think directed by two people actually, Annabelle Jangles and Rocky Morton. Don't know who the heck they are. I'm guessing like they're in charge of a lot of movies, from the 90s and stuff like that. So, gosh, I mean, what films has she done? Like a lot of like, I don't want to say B-rated movies, but not as famous as you would hope.
Yeah.
I mean, and she just like works sporadically here and there. So the fact that her and this other guy got like I mean, they're working with. I mean, like they had a budget clearly, and so they just got directors that they felt, I guess like invoke that type of funny vibe, comedic. I guess that ultimately that's what they're trying to go for. I mean,
it depends too, because like the original script, I guess it was like more of a dystopian, but the problem was, I think it said that Disney acquired the rights to the movie, like as like it got bought and directors got put on. So with Disney acquiring it, they like looked at the film and like, no, this is not the Mario we're gonna do. Here's a new script, and they're like, all right, well, you just wrote a funny movie in a cyberpunk dystopian Mario, and I think that is partially why you have such a weird levels to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because like, right, they're trying to go off the script that they originally had, but they have pressure from the studio, but trying to make it a little bit lighter, because they want it to be kind of like a kid, to be able to take your kid to go see it, right? Because it is Mario, and who plays Mario? Kids, you know. So to be able to have like a R-rated Mario movie and not take your kid to it is like, I guess, almost like shooting yourself in the foot, which it still ultimately did.
Yeah.
With like so much weird things. I mean, they try to keep it, like as close to the game as can. I mean, they had like the red and green jumpsuits. They like the shoes, which I loved. I was like, oh, I want the shoes that can make you jump real high.
See, the shoes I will never understand. Like, what the point of that was? Like, I get that Mario jumps, but like he didn't jump like that crazy.
I mean, I took them as like rocket boots or something. I'm like, oh, that's
That
so
was
cool.
definitely meant for to be rocket boots. 100% it was meant to be a rocket boot.
Yeah, I was like, oh, those are cool. Like he can kind of fly, but because when I was a kid, I didn't play Mario. I didn't have like the original Super Nintendo. Like my first exposure to like Super Mario was like the N64. That was
way
my
different
exposure to Mario. Yeah,
way different game.
Yeah, it is. It was way different. But then as I got older, and realized it was just original Super Mario, and like they try to make a movie off of that. I can see like how like it just didn't like mesh well. I mean,
so what you're saying is you started playing N64 and you're like, I'll be damned, where is my shotgun?
Yeah.
These Goombas, they just keep coming, but I have no gun. What do you mean I got a wing cap? Where's the rocket boots?
What's with the star? I gotta punch, I don't. Where's Luigi? Where's Luigi? I don't understand.
He's never around when you need him.
Damn it, Luigi!
Take that, John Lugasmo. How dare you? But yeah, I mean, that's the weird thing about the 90s is they tried a lot of adaptions. And I feel like this is one where if you were to ask people, like, did it fail? I mean, it definitely failed. Like 100% it was.
Yeah.
It was
unfortunately, yeah.
But again, it tried, because I mean, you have like this couple years later, you get Spawn, which for me was one of the best first comic book ish adaptions. I don't think it's the first one, but that was one of the best comic book I really enjoyed Spawn when it came out.
I remember begging my mom to take me to go see that, and she was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Mom, he's a superhero, of course." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's rated R."
No, it's fine.
And like, mom, relax. But and she took me. She goes, "What are we watching?" And
it's rated R for justice.
Yeah. She goes, "What is this?" I'm like, "This is incredible! Oh my, look,
hey,
the clown."
Hey, you know it's crazy. John Leguizamo, 2 movies in both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious because the movie we got and the movie that Disney kind of acquired the rights to and put out, when you rewrote the script and you looked at the set that they had made, and like you're trying to save money, you're trying to salvage what you have, why would you not just be like, all right, you know what, maybe we should restart this?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question. I mean,
all right,
maybe
Bob Iger on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, weren't they already in production when they started filming? They had to be already maybe in production, and they were like already like too far along into it, to be like, all right, and maybe to me moving pieces were already on there, and they just were changing things on the fly, which happens,
It does, and it's very possible. It's hard to say. It is funny because most of the actors that have been in this movie, again, despite like loving it like as like the cheesy like weird adaptation that it is, most of the stars have gone on file to saying that they hate it. Even like John Leguizamo, I think, has made it very clear that I think now he's more appreciative just because
It was the start,
it really
Yeah.
did put his name out there as like a comedic actor, and he was with really big names. So I think that did the 100 again. We look at 93, we have Super Mario, and then he's Violator in Spawn, and then I think after that he did one of the characters in Summer of Sam. Like the 90s where he busted out a lot of movies.
Yeah, he was in the modern version of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right, Mario, Romeo plus Juliet, great
Right,
movie.
plus
He was
Juliet.
Tybalt Capulet. I own that movie in 2 different forms of DVD. I love that movie,
Yeah.
and I am not afraid to admit that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just an overall just great actor. I mean, I even love his small cameo in John Wick.
John Wick
Like
was
at the
good.
beginning. Yeah, I mean, like, again, like he's not throughout the whole movie, but he plays that role perfectly. Like you do not want to mess with John Leguizamo in John Wick. All right, you just don't mess with the guy.
Didn't he get killed in the second or third one?
John Leguizamo was in the second one. Was he?
No, I mean like John Leguizamo's character. Didn't he? For some reason, I could have sworn he got killed in the second or third movie.
I thought he only appeared in part one. I don't.
No, I think briefly I could have sworn.
We'll
have to fact check this later.
Yeah, we got But anyway, so yeah, I mean, and Dennis, Dennis Hopper's Dennis Hopper. Like he'll be in anything. I mean,
he was a good villain.
Yeah, he played a good character. I mean, he was in Speed. I mean, Dennis Hopper is a major name in Hollywood. I mean, he was in not Raging Bull, Easy Rider. Yeah, I mean, in 60s, 70s. I mean, that's a major name.
Yeah,
I mean, to have.
And what I do like about what they did in this film specifically is that too many people do nowadays. The 90s had no problem being like, yeah, no, you're supposed to hate this guy. Like, there's no like, don't feel like you did not feel bad. Like, oh well, he's a dinosaur man that just wanted to be which he was president. I mean, he pretty much took over. He was like an industrialist that like ran the slums in the whole world.
Yeah.
There really was like no like, oh well, I can see why he did this. It was just like,
yeah, that's more like that's more like a modern day type of thing that people are like doing, like with Loki and like even like Thanos. Like they're trying to like kind of like make the audience like see and understand from their point of view. Where during the 80s and like early 90s, like they didn't care at all. I mean, like they're like, this is a bad guy, and that's what he is. There's no layers to him. There's he just out there to do bad things, and you have your good guy like the guy from Roadhouse and Dirty Dancing. What's his name?
Not Sam Elliott. But I know who you're talking about.
Now I gotta figure out, Brian, why you do this to me?
Whose fault is that? You.
Now we see. Hold on. I gotta put Dirty Dancing real quick. And forgive us, guys. We're
No, we blame Alex.
Patrick Swayze. There you go. Patrick Swayze.
That's who you couldn't remember? I thought you were talking about the bad guy of that movie.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of I don't care about the bad guy. You see, that's what I'm saying. That's how bad the bad guys are, that I don't care. I just care about the good guys like Patrick Swayze, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, because they're just fighting bad guys who are clearly just bad guys. And that's where this movie is an error. I mean, and that's where this movie is based off of, is that era of like bad guys that they're just bad guys. I mean, they're the directors and the writers are like this people are going in here not to think but just have a good time. So and that was a mindset of the era. So.
Well, they clearly thought that this movie was going to blow up, obviously from the video game, because the ending like. They finally get home and it's like she like busted into their apartment. She's like, Mario, Luigi, I need you for another mission, and like that's how it ends.
I was so excited. I was like, oh, the sequel is this gonna have Wario, and like the evil versions of like Mario and Luigi.
Bowser would have been.
Yeah, maybe Bowser. They would have put Bowser. who knows? I mean, like if it would have gotten a sequel, maybe the sequel would have been more to the video game. Who knows?
Again, this is one of those movies that it was, like I said, it's so much fun to watch because it's so, you have like such weird practical effects for the Goombas, which I really enjoy. Like the teeth, like everything, like the practical effects, even the fungus, like the world was very good. And then you could tell this is definitely early CGI, 90s CGI, because then you look at like Yoshi, who's like this weird like CGI, and I want to say Velociraptor, but it's not quite dinosaur. It's like a weird dinosaur, like hype, like mini dinosaur.
Yeah.
That like Daisy like slowly bonds with through the movie. Because I think he gets mistreated by Koopa or someone.
You know, surprisingly, Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi, only original characters from the game.
No, they had Toad. Toad was in there.
That's what.
I told you that was the Goomba that got like devolved, that had like the harmonica.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. Sorry. See, I look nothing like Toad.
Technically, King Koopa, like the Koopa Troopas, are like the turtle, like the Kappa turtles in Super Mario.
Because of the way they walk, like back and forth. Remember when they were dancing in the elevator?
Yes, but those were the Goombas.
Yeah.
But the Koopas are like the little, like the green shell turtle people. I mean, the Koopa, the ones that walk on 2 feet are the Koopa Troopa. Okay. So I mean, King Koopa, I guess we could call that part of the. Now, do I remember the part in the game where they sneak into Big Bertha's nightclub and try to steal rocket boots? No, I am still waiting for that. Definitely the best part about the movie was Mario and Luigi. Both John and Bob acting in that movie is what made it. It's like your usual like cop pair. One cracks the jokes and one's like, "Oh, my back, I'm too old to be saving the world." Which Bob Hoskins did a great job. Like that. Yeah, that was right up his role.
Yeah, he did. I think John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins. Yeah, I think they portray the characters really well. You know, so I mean that's what got me into the movie was how good were my heroes. Like those guys were my heroes. So
now, if they were to do the sequel, what would you want to see as the sequel?
Oh, him fighting an evil version of himself, like Wario, and what was the evil version of Luigi?
Waluigi.
Waluigi. Why can't I say it?
Why is it so weird?
I would like to see that. I would like to see like yeah, I guess those would be the bad guys. I mean, maybe bring in Bowser. Maybe Bowser.
Do you introduce Princess Peach?
Maybe she changed her name. Maybe that's.
No, you can't do that. You already have a Daisy. You can't just change names.
I mean, you could bring in Princess Peach, but I mean, like, would she be romantically involved with Mario since Mario in the movie has a girlfriend, you know, or whatever, a fiance?
Oh, well. No, because I'm trying to think. Danielle is not. Don't think so. There's too many. No, Daniela is, or based off of Pauline, is a character. Is the girlfriend of Mario. So
right.
Technically, that is before Princess Peach.
Okay, I mean,
you're not as familiar with the.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not that in depth with like his whole backstory from the games. Apparently,
but my biggest thing is if they had done the sequel, like, is there a part where they're racing and they get on a cart?
You see, that was late 90s Mario.
Go-karts were very popular though.
They were
in the 90s.
I mean, if we're making a sequel today to that movie, sure, why not? Why not have, you know? I mean, they kind of did a Pedro Pascal, you know, in the SNL skit.
That was fantastic. Do you think we could Do you think John Leguizamo would agree to put on the green jumpsuit?
For enough money, sure.
I mean,
anything's possible with enough
we have
money.
heard this, especially when Hugh Jackman said, "I'll never be Wolverine again." And
yeah. And then Ryan Reynolds was like, "Ka-ching, ching."
I mean, that's all it takes.
Come on. Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite and what was the part you hated about the movie the most?
I mean, it's been a while. I mean, like all I have is fond memories of it when I was watching it as a kid. What I hate about it is like maybe the mud bath. Do you remember? Yeah, they had like a mud bath. Oh, you don't remember this part?
I don't remember this part.
There's at least 2 scenes of a mud bath. And like one scene of like he sticks his hand somewhere and like, it gets all foamy and then he rips it. It was just like really weird. It was like and like because he has a secretary with like red hair who's really into him, and she was taking like a mud. It's like in his like high rise apartment or something. I promise. I mean, I'm not making this up. There's some type of mud bath. I just remember like seeing like it's really weird seeing this in like a kids movie. Big Bertha was weird because she's all up on Mario and Mario's face is all in her, bits and stuff like that. I was like, what's going on here?
Mario, what's happening? What are you doing? I'm only 9. I can't explain these feelings.
I don't understand this. So I mean, I guess it's stuff like that, So how about you?
I mean, I definitely enjoyed the jumpsuit. Again, John Leguizamo definitely made this movie with the jokes. That was always funny.
Yeah.
The part that I found very disturbing was how they portrayed the king. Like, I would have been okay if it was just like literally a giant mushroom, but instead it was like this weird like
ball,
ball that would like come in and out of like a little like crater like shell type thing.
It looked like
something like gurgle. It looked like from like The Last of Us, like the little like clicker like mushroom like little stuff. Like it was just so bizarre. I was like, this is.
I was gonna say
not a mushroom.
I was saying it looks like the from Aliens, the queen with like the tube that she lays when she lay her eggs. The tube that comes out. That's what it looks like. I mean, it looks like something from Aliens. Like it's like, but it's like one ball that comes down and it goes back up. I mean, it looks like a genitalia kind of like.
Wow. I don't recall seeing that, but again, it's been some time since I've seen the movie.
Yeah, it looked a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it looks a little weird.
Well, and obviously we bring this up too because obviously on Netflix, the animated, what was it, 2023 it came out, I think. I'm pretty sure it was 2023.
Oh yeah, the recent one. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It came out last year, March of last year. Yeah.
Which was done well because, and I think the reason it was done so well was number one, they went all animated, where you have there's no budget. I mean, there's a budget constraint, but there's not like a budget constraint of, well, how do I replicate LA with fungus everywhere? You're just like, all right, well, we got to pay someone an extra 6 hours to draw it and then scan it and then convert it. So, I mean, that did help it. Would you want to see if they did the sequel? Because they did pretty much set it up for a sequel as well. Would you want to see a homage? Like Mario and Luigi are just like walking into like the Mushroom Kingdom and they pass like up another pair of plumbers that look just like John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins.
I think that'd be great, but like do it through the tubes, and not the Mushroom Kingdom, because like remember, like there's a whole big galaxy out there, right?
Yeah.
So they're using the tubes, right, and like to, I don't know, chase Bowser or something, right? And they just happen to like do like a quick cameo through like New York City of that world, right? And they roam past John Leguizamo and Bob Hoskins, and then they jump into like another tube. I think that'd be enough of a cameo.
The Mario multiverse.
The Mario multiverse. Yeah.
Drop in Pedro Pascal. You have like Wario and Luigi just like sitting in one world.
Yeah.
Paper Mario, like the game, he just constantly going through tubes in different formats. There's a lot of room for this. And again, we're getting a lot of sequels from old movies that kind of didn't get like the takeoff, or they're kind of revitalizing because they're doing a lot of anniversaries. I mean, 93, so 2023, that's a 30-year reunion they had last year, like 30-year anniversary.
Right.
So maybe we get a reboot.
It could. I mean, it had to be a whole new cast, though. I mean, telling you. I mean, it wouldn't, because Dragon Leguizamo, I don't think would be interested at all. I mean, again, enough money, I'm sure he would. Bob Hoskins, they have to either replace him or just do a solo Luigi movie. You know, because unfortunately he's long and gone. Dennis Hopper, is he still around, or did he pass away?
I think Bob Hoskins passed.
Right, but Dennis Hopper, I think
Hopper, he died.
Yeah, so you see, I mean, well, he died in the movie too. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I as much as I would love to see it, you know, maybe they could do a anime version.
Maybe John got with Daisy and had a kid that he named Mario.
So now he goes with it's like Luigi and Mario, but like father and son.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, Ryan.
Again, call Iger. Tell him it's writing this check for itself.
Yeah. I mean, I thought Universal Studios owned it now, though, because then they make Disney didn't make Mario. It was Universal Studios.
Well, let's see who made the last film. The last film is Universal. So, but did Universal actually own it, or did they just pay for rights from Nintendo?
I don't know. I mean, because they're making all those Mario Land at their theme parks and stuff like that. So I have to assume.
But I wonder if it's more of a kind of like when Sony had for Spider-Man, where like it was more of like a lending, and like an exclusivity.
Right.
I do wonder. Plus, you know, we could do two very different Mario lands.
I mean, it can happen. It can happen. Like, you know, I mean,
what is this?
Fungus.
Just the fungus.
If people like kids like jump on the fungus is like bungee cords. You know, I can see that. I can see like a whole land, you know, based off of that. You know? Go karts to look like the cabs, you know, with the sparkle. I mean, look, it writes itself. These theme park writes itself. I'm telling you.
I don't think you're going to see kids there as much as you're going to see
drunk adults. Yes,
35-year-old people trying to reclaim
the Super Mario that wasn't successful youth. Yes.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, like, do we even declare that it wasn't successful anymore? Because yes, it's on the list of like worst adaptation and bad movie, but it does have cult status.
Oh yeah, totally. Total cult status. I mean, it does hold a special place in people's heart.
I mean, do we consider it a failure? I will say it was a failure to capture the game.
Right.
But on a movie front, as a one shot, which I'm glad they didn't do the sequel, because I do fear that would have somehow been worse. I don't know how.
Probably would have gone straight to VHS for sure.
But it was, again, it will always be a fun movie as a kid, because that was the first time the idea got planted in your head that Hollywood might take
video games,
something that I enjoy, and now they're going to make a TV show or movie.
True. Yeah, that's very true.
Because after you got that adaptation, that's when you got Spawn. Then after you got Spawn, you got Blade, and then all of a sudden we're like, live action X-Men. You're like, whoa, this is.
Yeah, but sticking with the video game theme, after Mario, you had Mortal Kombat.
That is a whole different. That's a whole different episode, because that movie for sure is my favorite.
Yeah, you have Mortal Kombat, and then after that, then there's try to make these other movies based off the video games.
You had Mortal Kombat. You had Mortal Kombat 2. Lara Croft came a lot later.
Okay, like late early 90s.
That was Angelina Jolie, so I want to say that was probably early 2000s.
right. And then you have like that.
It might have been late 90s.
Mm-hmm. Didn't you have that movie with Freddie Prinze Jr.? He was like a starfighter pilot.
Uh,
Let me see. Hold on. Let me try finding it. Let me try. Hold on. I mean, Freddie Prinze Jr. Um, he was in I know what you did last summer and stuff like that. But he was in like a bad sci-fi movie as well. He just came recently to C2E2.
he was there
Let me see.
mainly for Star Wars, but
Wing Commander.
yeah, but I feel like they just used that in name to make a movie. I don't know. Because some of these games, like you could be like, oh yeah, I'm making Galaga the movie. But like there's no story to Galaga. It's here's your ship, shoot the aliens. Like, I mean, you can make any story you want. They did Battleship the movie.
Yeah.
With Rihanna and Liam Neeson. It was a bizarre movie.
Yeah. It was. But just saying, but just to go off what you're saying, like it's like I mean, like Super Mario was like the first movie where they took like a property, and like convert it into a film. Like it was one of the first anyway.
I mean, so it started a big thing. Because I would say still early 90s. I don't think sci-fi really got a lot of the.
Not early 90s, no. But
the applause that it gets now, because there is a lot more people into it. Mm-hmm. Definitely, I think this was a paving stone, along with some a good amount of other movies that did help.
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about sci-fi movies, from the 90s, you had like Independence Day, you had like Men in Black, you had the Fifth Element with Bruce Willis. That was a fantastic movie, still is. You have a bunch of them, like Contact. Gosh, I mean, there's a bunch of other ones that I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But early 90s, definitely, I mean, like sci-fi was still kind of like that cheesy aspect that didn't take seriously. But like mid 90s through late 90s,
by the time the 90s got into the 2000s, like finally, I think people were being, all right, this is not bad. Because early 2000s, we started getting a lot of. I mean, what was it? Even early 2000s, mid 2000s, we got the first Hulk, which wasn't terrible. Wasn't great. We won't. That's another episode as well.
All right.
But at least again, at some point, it's getting something on screen.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think that's what Mario really accomplished, was getting a game and really just playing up to a degree the people who are going to watch it and the people that still do. It's one of those movies that's so bad you just have to love.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
On a scale of 1 to 5, are you going to rate it a high 5?
I think I would rate it a 4, probably. I mean, not the high as a 5, but probably a 4 for sure. Because again, it was that movie I just watched over and over again. I put it in my VHS, and that was the one movie that I watched over and over again, along with Back to the Future, Star Wars, Super Mario was definitely part of that collection.
I'd give it a 3.5, 3 3/4. Again, it's not a more like I'm watching it because it's funny, and at this point, it just reminds me of childhood more than anything.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's a fond memory of part of my childhood that I'll always have. So
definitely. All right. Well, any closing thoughts?
No. I mean, if you haven't seen it,
you should definitely go.
Yes, you should definitely go.
It's got to be on Amazon Prime. You have to be able to rent it. Again, we're not saying you're watching this because it's the next Avengers Endgame, but it is funny as hell to watch. You will definitely see a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
Again, remember people, especially those kids that you were born in 4K with CGI.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have that, okay?
We didn't.
Someone had to actually make a latex mask if you wanted to be like an on-screen dinosaur. There was no computer generated, and if they did, it wasn't great.
No.
Yeah. I mean, for this, I think they accomplished a decent amount for production and costume.
Yeah.
But watch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth at least one watch, and then
It's a beer and pizza movie.
oh, it totally beer and pizza. Totally. That's a good reference. Yeah, totally.
You got some friends, you just want to laugh and be like, what is this? That's the movie to watch.
Totally. Yep.
All right. Well, this has been another episode. We hope you had fun listening to this. Hopefully, we'll be able to cover some more of our favorite throwbacks. We got quite a bit of them. If you do, or you want to hear more from us, go to our Instagram at Beyond the Cape Podcast on Instagram, or you could find us here as you're watching on YouTube. Click follow, subscribe, tell a friend, tell many friends, whatever you want to do. But we hope to put another episode out soon for you guys and hope you enjoy. All right, everyone, have a good night.
Good night, everybody.